Hello.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
Good. Hi. Hi, everyone. Nice to be here.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, everybody, for hopping on today, our April Lunch and Learn meeting. We have a few more people hopping on. We have plenty of people that register and then watch our meetings later. So if they're not on now, they'll go back and watch it later. But we appreciate you all hopping on today. We're going to talk about some yoga today, and we're going to talk about why it's beneficial for our folks with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We're also going to talk about how yoga can be adapted to our population, as well as tips and resources for caregivers and family members. Today we have Jill, and Jill, will you just say your last name so because I don't want to say it incorrectly.
Vassi.
So perfect. All right. So I was going to say that. So we have Jill Vassi. She's the co-founder and co-owner and the vice president of Exceptional Services Group in Boca Raton, Florida. She graduated from Auburn University with a degree in public relations, minoring in marketing and journalism. In the early stages of her career, Jill honed her skills in customer relationship management, advertising, and marketing account management. Her passion for making a meaningful impact on people's lives led her to transition into the nonprofit sector. And then she began working at the international charity Food for the Poor. Jill also brings a wealth of expertise as a certified yoga teacher and what's that word? A nutritionist? What kind of?
Oh, Ayurvedic nutrition.
Ayurvedic. There you go. See, I just want to make sure I say words correctly. And as an Ayurvedic nutritionist, for any of y'all who know what that is, her dedication to holistic well-being began with a 200-hour training in Raja Yoga in 2012. She further expanded her skills with level one and level two certifications in creative relaxation, specializing in working with neurodiverse children, teens, and adults. Jill is currently pursuing a 300-hour training in integrative yoga, continuing her commitment to promoting health and wellness. She continues to advance the company's mission of providing exceptional services tailored specifically for intellectual or individuals with developmental and intellectual disabilities. And so, Jill, you should be able to share your screen and present. For questions today, you can type some in the chat. Anyone who has them, we will have time to do questions at the end, but we'll try to make sure we can stop here and there to answer some important questions. We appreciate you all being here. We send out the meeting agenda and information and resources from our meeting once the presentation is over today. And just as always, if you would like a certificate of attendance for our meeting today, you can email me at dustin@artflorida.org. So Jill, I appreciate you, and I'll let you take it away.
Well, thank you, Dustin, for the lovely introduction. It's a pleasure to be here today. I've been teaching yoga and also teaching others to teach yoga to adults and children with intellectual and developmental disabilities since 2012. So today we're going to be talking about getting fit, yoga for individuals with IDD. But first, I want to say a little bit about my company, Exceptional Services Group. We strive to improve quality of life with client-centered services across home, school, recreational, and vocational environments. And to do this, we have two divisions. The first division, Exceptional Wellness, offers a team of licensed professionals dedicated to providing high quality, confidential counseling and therapeutic services to individuals, families, and groups. And this presentation today is part of that division. The other division is Exceptional Vacations, and they provide high quality supervised vacations for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And we've been helping our clients experience the therapeutic benefits of travel for over 20 years. So let's talk about our agenda. Today we're going to talk about what is yoga and why it's beneficial. We're going to talk about adapting yoga for individuals with IDD. We're going to go over some beginner-friendly yoga poses that you guys can do from home or your whatever program you're at, and tips for caregivers and family members to support a yoga practice. And then we'll talk about resources and next steps. Okay, so let's start with what is yoga and why it's beneficial. So yoga is an ancient practice that combines physical postures, breathing exercises, and mindfulness. It's not just about flexibility, it's about connecting the mind, body, and breath. Yoga improves physical health, reduces stress, and enhances emotional well-being, and improves our ability to self-regulate. Actually, the word yoga literally translated, it means union. So yoga is the ultimate practice. It simultaneously stimulates our inner light and quiets our overactive mind. It is both energy and rest, yin and yang. We feel the burn and find our bliss. And that's just a quote I love from Elise Jones, so I had to include it. Okay, so here are some benefits of yoga for individuals with IDD. We have physical benefits, emotional benefits, social benefits, and cognitive benefits. Some of the physical benefits may include improved strength, endurance, agility, flexibility, and body awareness, improved motor skills and coordination, improved balance and heart health, improved self-care, and promoting relaxation. Some emotional benefits may be reduced anxiety, increased self-esteem and confidence, reduced symptoms of depression, anxiety, anger, and aggression, and better impulse control. Social benefits may include opportunities for group activities, connection with others in a safe and supportive environment, a yoga surrounding. We like to make it a calm, welcoming atmosphere, so it helps our students from feeling overwhelmed or overly stimulated by their surroundings. It also helps people build social skills. And some cognitive benefits are enhanced focus and mindfulness, improved mood, increased self-awareness. It helps regulate sensory input and improves our proprioception. And proprioception is just our understanding of where our physical body is in space and time. Okay. So this is a graph of heart rate improvements over time. And this is from the International Journal of Yoga Therapy, and it's by my teacher, Louise Goldberg. Louise teaches a program called Creative Relaxation. It's a continuing education program for yoga teachers and social workers on yoga for children with autism. I also happen to be a level 1 and 2 graduate, which I think Dustin mentioned at the beginning. But basically what we're seeing with this graph is that consistent yoga practice reduced a resting pulse rate by 15 to 25% on average. So the left axis of each graph shows the number of pulses counted per 10 seconds. And the bottom graph, or bottom axis, shows the number of sessions attended. The dark blue line indicates the pulse count on the entry to the session, and the pink line indicates the pulse count after the end of the session. So as you can see, the sessions elicited a relaxation response among the participants. And the relaxation response is when the parasympathetic nervous system kicks in and it returns the body to its normal resting state. Okay. So our next chart is your brain on yoga. And here in the yellow, we have the frontal lobe. And the frontal lobe is in control of movement, planning, and execution. And then here, 1A, we have the prefrontal cortex, and that is responsible for executive function. So the whole prefrontal lobe involves abstract thinking, planning, emotional regulation, personality, and behavior. So during yoga class, your frontal lobe enables you to plan, execute, and adjust your yoga poses. This red area here is the parietal lobe, and this is where our sense of touch and pain comes from. So we get our sensory information integration, visuospatial processing, and language processing. The parietal lobe is active during yoga class as we process the sensations we feel in positions such as downward dog or auditory cues we hear from our teacher, and also our position in the room and on our mat. This area here in orange is the occipital lobe, the lobe of sense and sight. The occipital lobe allows you to see the color of your mat, visual cues of your yoga teacher, and your focal point during balancing poses. In number 4, this area in gray is the temporal lobe. And this is where we have auditory and visual processing, visual memory retention, language comprehension, memory, meaning, and emotional response. Or experience a feeling of triumph or struggle when thinking of a challenging pose. Okay, and number 5 is our brain stem. This is our vital functions such as digestion, heart rate, breathing, eating. Our brain stem regulates our heart rate and our autonomic breathing. Without it, we wouldn't be alive. It also relays sensory information from your body to the rest of the brain for processing and allows you to be alert and attentive in class. And then number 6, we have the cerebellum that is responsible for motor control, coordination, posture, balance and equilibrium, motor learning, the reflex response. So our cerebellums are working in yoga class to move us through as we balance in our yoga poses. And this is also our muscle memory of knowing poses kind of without thinking. So that comes from this part of the brain. So the brain stem extends from the middle of the brain to the spinal cord. And the spinal cord is basically our information highway, so to speak, as it transmits information between our brains and the rest of our body. Okay, so let's get into adapting yoga for individuals with IDD. This student is practicing her Warrior 3 pose using a wall for support. Okay, so yoga can be modified to meet the unique needs of individuals. And we want to start by creating a relaxing space. We want to provide a dependable structure for the class, incorporate visual aids or demonstrations, simplify poses and focus on achievable movements, provide positive feedback and reinforcement. We can use props like focus circles, chairs, blocks, or straps for support. We want to allow breaks for modifications as needed, use fun names for the poses, and create opportunities for student input and engagement. So as you can see here on the pictures, we have a student using a strap to help her get into bow pose. And then we have a student using a chair to help her modify a pose. And then at the bottom, they're using blocks to help them with their modifications. In our classes, we also use a flip book that has pictures of the poses. Yeah, so I guess that's it for that. Okay. Sequencing 101. So sequencing is a very important part of adapting yoga for the population. The structure that our teachers use to ensure that our classes have consistency in their practice is this structure that we're going to go over now. So we start with warm-up poses, and we usually do these seated. And some examples we're going to look at later are seated circles, butterfly knees, and rocking chairs. Then we move on to our core poses. So these poses, we usually start in tabletop position or hands and knees. And these examples we're going to go over today are happy cat, happy cow, balance beam, and downward facing dog. Then the standing poses. We have tree, frog, warrior poses. mindfulness poses. We're going to go into prone, so we're going to go on our bellies. And I like to start with crocodile pose, so we're going to look at that pose later. And then we also usually do a gentle back bend, such as airplane or shark. And then we roll over onto our backs and we do some cool down poses. Cool down poses are held a little longer. And we want to start providing spinal flexion after our back bend. So we usually start with knee hugs, and then other examples we can use for cool down poses are candle and line twist. And then we end with Shavasana, which we like to call floating on a cloud. Okay, so yoga poses for individuals with IDD. Again, as I mentioned, these are all beginner friendly and can be done at home. We're going to start with easy pose. So this is our crisscross applesauce. We want to sit comfortably in easy pose and begin to draw slow, gentle circles with our upper bodies. You exhale as you round forward and dip down. Inhale as you rise and open the chest. Make big, mindful circles. This movement helps release tension in the lower back, hips, and shoulders while enhancing spinal mobility and calming the nervous system. So you could say a prompt to your student, something like, imagine your breath taking you around the world. Where would you like to go today? The next pose we have is rocking chair. This is a very fun pose. A lot of students really love this pose. So from a seated position with your knees up, you'll place your hands behind your knees. Make sure the space behind you is clear, and gently rock back onto your spine and roll forward to sit again. You're going to repeat this a few times. So this movement massages the back, activates the core, and helps release tension. So a prompt you could say is, can you find your smoothest, quietest landing? And then we have butterfly knees. We're going to begin this pose with the soles of our feet together, and then we're going to start slow. So we're going to lower our knees toward the floor and then bring them back up slowly. So this is going to warm up our hips and inner thighs. And after a few repetitions, we'll shift into fast butterfly. So we want to flutter our knees up and down quickly, just like a butterfly in flight. This movement helps increase hip flexibility, it stimulates circulation, and brings a burst of playful energy to your body. You can say something like, imagine your butterfly taking off. What color are its wings today? Okay. And then here we have our core poses. And we're going to start with cat-cow, which we kind of started calling happy cat, happy cow after the teacher here in this picture, Cynthia, came up with that. She thought it sounded better than what we were calling it. So it kind of took off. So this we start from a tabletop pose. You want to inhale and lift your chest and tailbone, dropping your belly, and that is cow pose. And then you're going to exhale and round your spine, tuck your tailbone, and gaze towards your belly button, and that would be cat pose. So you're going to flow gently with your breath. This movement warms up the spine, improves flexibility, and helps release tension. Can you move like a happy cat and a gentle cow? Or what a lot of our teachers will say is, what sound does a cat make when they're in cat pose? Or what sound does a cow make when they're in cow pose? Next, we have bird dog or balance beam. So from tabletop, you're going to lift your left arm and right leg at the same time. You want to reach long, hold for a few breaths, and then switch sides. And if balance is a problem or is a little tricky, you can offer a hand for support to your student. Oftentimes they don't need the hand, but they like knowing it's there. So they'll love feeling the sense of accomplishment when they, successfully do the pose without the support. It's a great pose. So this pose strengthens the core, improves balance, and builds body awareness. And another one of our core poses that we do, this is also our transition pose to our standing postures. It's downward dog. And this is our teacher, Jenna. She's teaching a class. And as you can see, she has our flip book that shows the illustration of someone doing downward facing dog. So from tabletop, you're going to lift your hips up towards the sky, straightening your legs and arms. You want to reach your heels toward the ground and press your chest gently toward your thighs. You want to pause and breathe and feel the stretch from head to heel. This pose strengthens the arms and legs, stretches the spine, and calms the mind. And when you're ready, you can walk your feet up between your hands to rise. And that brings us into our standing poses. We'll start with tree. Tree is a balancing pose. So you want to stand tall and place one foot on your ankle, calf, or thigh, just not on the knee. Some of our students have trouble with balancing, so we'll start them with, maybe just their toes touching the ground. You want to bring your hands to your heart, or you can reach them up like branches. Root down through your standing leg and grow tall through your spine. Breathe deeply and find your balance. This pose builds focus, strengthens the legs, and helps improve stability. Can you grow tall and steady, or maybe sway gently like a tree in the breeze? Okay, and next we have frog pose. If you're familiar with yoga, this might not look like the frog pose you're used to, but this is our teacher, Cynthia, teaching our version of frog pose. So from standing, you want to come to a wide knee position with your feet turned out. Gently lower down onto your hands into a squatting posture and breathe slowly. This deep stretch opens the hips, releases tension, and grounds your energy. What sound does a frog make? And then warrior one. So many times in yoga classes, you'll start warrior one by stepping back, but we like to start with stepping forward. So you step one foot forward and bend the front knee while keeping your back leg long and strong. Turn your back heel down and lift your arms overhead. Ground through your feet and rise through your chest. Breathe deeply and feel your strength. This pose builds confidence, strengthens legs and arms, and improves focus. And we like to speak affirmations here, such as, I am strong. That's always fun. So we'll say it, and then we'll have the student repeat after us. Okay, so now we have our mindfulness and gentle back bend poses. We like to do these before I do our cool down. So this gets us in our prone position on our belly. And I usually like to start with a mindfulness exercise in crocodile pose. So we'll have these students lie on their bellies with their legs extended and arms folded under their head. The student in this picture has his mouth on his hands, but I suggest putting your forehead on your hands. Okay, so you're going to let your whole body relax into the ground. Breathe slowly and deeply, feeling your belly press into the floor with each inhale. This gentle pose calms the nervous system, relieves tension in the lower back, and invites a deep rest. So can you rest as still and quiet as a crocodile in the sun? Also, to make this a mindfulness exercise, I like to ask the students to tell me something they notice in the present moment. It could be, if they're outside, it could be the sound of birds, or it could be the feeling of the wind on their skin, or the feeling of the mat, or something they smell or see or hear, just to get them into the present moment. And then we'll go into a gentle back bend. So for our purposes, we're going to look at shark pose. So shark pose, we're going to lie on our bellies and reach our hands behind our backs. And as you inhale, lift your chest, arms, and head off the ground. Keep your legs strong and steady. Hold for a few breaths, and then lower gently. And when a student gets more advanced, they may also be able to lift their legs up as well. This pose strengthens the back, opens the chest, and builds focus and energy. Can you glide through the water like a silent, powerful shark? Okay. Then we have our cool down poses. So as I mentioned earlier, we always like to roll over onto our backs. And because we just did shark, which is a gentle back bend, we're going to do a counter pose. So shark as a back bend provides spinal extension. So when we turn over, we want to do some spinal flexion. So we usually do knee hugs. Um, so you're going to lie on your back and gently hug your knees into your chest. You can stay still or rock gently from side to side. When you rock gently from side to side, you'll feel almost like a massage on your hips, so it feels nice to do that. Um, and of course, breathe in deeply, exhale slowly, letting your back soften into the floor. This pose soothes the lower back, it supports digestion and helps the body relax. And all of these poses we hold a little longer just because they are cool down and they're getting us ready for our final relaxation. So next we'll do lying twist. So you want to lie on your back with your knees up and gently drop your knees to one side. You'll lengthen your arms out wide like the letter T. And then you want to try to turn your head in the opposite way if it feels good. In yoga, we never push anyone to do anything. Nothing should ever hurt. Um, so only if it feels okay should you turn your head the opposite way. And you're going to relax here. And this pose releases tension in the spine, it massages the organs, and also calms the mind. Another pose we like to do here is candle. So you want to lie on your back and lift your legs to the sky. You can also use a wall for the support. This pose is also known as legs up the wall if you're using a wall. And the client can close their eyes, take slow, gentle breaths. This pose calms the nervous system and helps circulation. And we like to light the candles and have students keep them up until we blow them out. So we just like pretend to light the candles and then we'll usually blow them out with like a swipe of our hands or whatever. And it just gives them incentive to keep their legs up longer. Okay, and last but not least, we have Shavasana, which we like to call floating on a cloud. And this is the final resting posture in most yoga classes. As you can see, this student here is using some props. She has an eye bag. It looks like her legs are under bolsters, and she also has a pillow under her head and her shoulders. But you don't have to do that. You can just lie flat on your mat, close your eyes, arms out to the side. We prefer your palms to be up, but again, we don't try to force anything. So you want to lie on your back with your legs relaxed, arms by your sides, palms facing up. I just said that. Close your eyes and let your whole body feel heavy and soft. Imagine you're floating on a soft, gentle cloud. Let your breath be slow and easy. This restful pose helps the body absorb all the benefits of your practice and brings deep peace to the mind and heart. Can you feel yourself drifting light and free? Okay, so now we have some tips for caregivers and families. As a caregiver or family member, you play a key role in supporting yoga. So here are some tips. You want to create a calm and distraction-free environment. Practice together to make it a shared activity. Start small and be patient. And use positive reinforcement and celebrate progress. So these two people are doing a bow pose together. Okay. Okay, so now we'll talk about some resources and next steps. If you're inspired to start a yoga practice, here are some resources. My company, Exceptional Wellness, we offer virtual and in-person private and group classes. You can contact us at this number or email me at this email address. We also have a new program where we work students up a ladder of levels. So after they graduate from each level, they receive a certificate and a colored bracelet that represents that level. So this gives them some positive reinforcement to keep practicing. Also check with your local art, your community center, or parks and recreation department. Many times they'll have yoga classes for people in our population. You can also find a list of level 2 creative relaxation certified instructors from this link. And then Louisa's book, Yoga Therapy for Children with Autism and Special Needs, is a great book. And there's a link here, so you could buy it. And then also keep aware of ARCA Florida's monthly informational and educational webinars. Okay, so we're ready for a Q&A session, but before we get started, I just want to say this quick quote by Nido Qubein. Your present circumstances don't determine where you can go, they merely determine where you start. And that's what we like to do with yoga. We like to just start wherever the student is and build from there. So, Dustin, I guess you want to help out with the Q&A. I'm not sure how this works.
Yeah, of course, I got it. So first off, thank you so much for your presentation. It's awesome. I used to work at an adult day training, a small one, but an adult day training facility or program, and we had yoga at least once a week. So it's very, very, very awesome. So in our population, they really enjoy it, and they can kind of just wind down, and it's really good for the soul, good for anybody. So I was going to ask this question, and somebody asked specifically about Orlando. So if you do, you said that you do private lessons or private classes or groups, but you also do virtual. So if you do the physical classes, what areas of Florida do you serve?
The physical classes, unfortunately, right now we're just in South Florida, Southeast Florida, so like Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties.
Okay.
But we could do virtual anywhere.
Okay. So Sharon asked specifically about Orlando, so I guess we're just missing that one.
Yeah.
So and then somebody just said, "This is awesome. We'll be moving to Florida this summer and hoping there's something where we will be living. I haven't found anything yet for the Eastern Panhandle area."
Yeah, I highly suggest checking like your local community centers. A lot of times they'll have like a special needs department that, does events, and many times they'll have yoga included.
Yes, ma'am. And then Jennifer said that this is it's a pretty good idea. She said that she would love to see yoga therapy offered as an iBudget med waiver service.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
That's something that you could advocate to your local legislators about.
Definitely, yeah.
Rachel just asked, do you include modifications for those who use a wheelchair?
Yes, we do. Definitely. Yeah, all of our instructors are certified in chair yoga. So, and if we're teaching a group class where maybe one person is using a chair and others are not, they'll give, verbal prompts to help the person using the chair modify their poses.
Okay. Thank you, Jill. I don't see any other questions in the chat right now. So if anybody wants to raise their hand and unmute and just ask out loud, you're welcome to do so. We don't just have to stay limited to the chat. We have plenty of time for some questions.
Hey Jill, if someone or a group is interested in a virtual webinar or seminar, how do they go about doing that? What's involved in that?
You mean like a class or like something along these lines?
A class, because you just mentioned virtual.
Yeah, they would just contact us, and I would find out times where they're available and match them up with a yoga instructor, and and just meet.
All right, we'll give it a few more minutes to see if anybody else has any questions. I do want to thank you all again for taking the time out of your day, especially during your lunch hour, and definitely appreciate Jill for taking the time to be with us today. Again, I did type Jill's email in the chat, so if you want to contact her, I know that her number was on this presentation as well, and there it is. There's her information right there. You'll also get to see her information again when we send out our email later on this afternoon or tomorrow. Depends on when our video gets uploaded to YouTube, but the whole presentation of all of our recordings get uploaded to our YouTube page, so you all will be able to watch it later. I don't see any more questions coming through. Jill, is there anything you would like to close out with?
Yeah, I just want to thank you all for, letting me participate today, and, the ARC, Dina, Dustin, thank you so much. It's a real honor to be able to present. I apologize if I rush through the content. I'm not used to doing these sort of things. So, but yeah, anyone here today or anyone watching this later on, please contact me with any questions. I will always answer. So yeah, so I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jill. And you did not rush through it. You did wonderful. We definitely appreciate you. And we do have a few more questions coming through to close us out. When asked, how can I introduce this to the programs here in Northwest Florida to encourage them to try introducing to our clients? We have nothing like this in the Panhandle that I'm aware of.
Well, if someone wants to start their own program, they can definitely use like some of these poses in this presentation to start. And if they'd like some extra input from me regarding more poses for each different sequencing section, I can do that as well. And yeah, and they could get started. I mean, legally, all of our teachers are registered yoga teachers, so they have the, education and the certification they need. But I think legally, you don't have to have that to teach yoga. You just want to make sure that you're doing it very carefully with your students, and making sure that you're not pushing anyone to prevent injuries, so yeah, it's something anyone can do from anywhere.
Okay. Well, thank you. And Renee said, thank you for starting this and providing this service to our adults and children with intellectual and developmental disabilities. I had dreams of this years ago. I'm glad someone is doing it. And then Rachel asked, where is the information about prices for virtual classes?
Okay. I can send that to Rachel. I don't have the price sheet. It depends on like the length. There's different prices, whether virtual or in person, if it's an individual or a group, or whether it's 30 minutes or an hour. So if you provide me your email, I can send that to you.
Absolutely. Yeah, Rachel, if you want to go ahead and type your email in the chat, we can make sure Jill gets that for you. Thank you, Jill. That's kind of you. So Rachel's email is rpayne. It's in the chat right here. rpayne, which is spelled P-A-Y as in Yahoo, N-E at togetherti.com.
Okay, got it. I'll send that out today.
Well, thank you. All right. It looks like that's all we have as far as questions go. I'm glad we got a few in there at the end. Again, thank you so much. The presentation was great. And I know firsthand how yoga can be very good for our population. So I appreciate you, and I'm glad that this does exist, and I'll be excited to see and hear about it spreading all over the state. So
me too. That would be wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you, and we hope that you have a wonderful rest of the week.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much.
Bye.
We'll send y'all emails later. Thank you.